which has been occupied by Pakistan. This is PoK-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where there is serious strife, ladies and gentlemen. Multiple reports have come in where the locals are only escalating their protests against the forced occupancy by the Pakistanis, and also with the local government, which has been put in place, a puppet government. Huge crisis on water, power, civic amenities in the region. Protests of the locals have been actually brutally crushed by the Pakistan military. Protests have started over the lack of even safety walls in the mountainous areas, which have led to multiple accidents. So much so that lives are not being saved during the times of inclement weather this rainy season. I have Dr. Amjad Ayub Mirza, who's been tracking these developments very carefully. Dr. Mirza, you've been putting it regularly in your podcast that there is serious trouble, serious strife in POJK. And things are going out of hand with the locals in huge amount of distress.
Well, Anand, thank you for having me. There is an open rebellion in POJK actually. The protests that were taking place all over POJK at different times now are taking place at the same time, and they have got three types of protests. One is a general protest rally, the other is public meetings, and the third one is the dharnas. And now what we are faced with is a real existential crisis because Pakistan is trying to impose a 15th Amendment through the Legislative Assembly of Pakistani-occupied Jammu Kashmir. And this 15th Amendment has got four major aspects that the people have now rebelled against. And number one is that they want to take all the monetary. There's a lot of noise coming in the background, so I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so number one is they want to take away any monetary or administrative powers that the Assembly of POJK has. Number two, they are bringing in a tourism act according to which the whole of tourism industry will be controlled by two Pakistani military officers. Number three, they are taking over all our hydropower projects, and they are trying to put fuel tax. We don't use fuel to generate electricity. It's all hydropower based electricity. So the fuel taxes of Punjab, the cost of fuel, to meet the cost of fuel in Punjab, they are now imposing fuel tax on the people of POJK. And number four, the military has issued a notification according to which they can acquire any piece of land for any length of time at any time without even asking the Legislative Assembly of POJK in the name of defense purposes. So all of this has culminated, and there is going to be a big, massive general strike again in Muzaffarabad on the 12th of August. Now, several, scores of political prisoners and that they are being tortured brutally and it's indescribable. For example, a young man by the name of Abid, they tortured him, they cut his body, they made cuts on his body with blade, they rubbed chilies into them, then they put a pipe in his backside and shoved chilies up his backside. I mean, how low can one stoop to
No, but this is brazen rights violation, and this is torture. This is the kind of torture which has now been banned. You're not allowed to torture people like this. But Dr. Amjad, how are they able to how are they getting away with this? Why is this not being reported in the global media? Why are there questions not being asked about it? The other aspect we are given to understand is that the Chinese are also now becoming adamant about power supply and with the projects there.
Well, everything that is happening in POJK is happening with the consent of the Chinese. You know, the Chinese want Gilgit-Baltistan to be incorporated into Pakistan as a province. And now, through the 15th Amendment, they are trying to reduce the status of POJK to that of a provincial entity without calling it a province. And the community is silent. Are war crimes because remember, this is an occupied land that was occupied after 22nd of 1997.
Right.
wars. We are Indian citizens living under the occupation of Pakistan. So these are war crimes, and Pakistan has never shied away from committing war crimes. The past is witness to that. There's evidence, ample evidence, and this is only one or two examples of the torture that I mentioned. In police stations, our protesters are kept in tiny rooms, 10 people at a time, with no toilet facilities. Can you believe that? And now I'm receiving these messages that prisoners have been released. And yesterday there was all-party conference in which 19 pro-Pakistan. Now this is very important, that pro-Pakistan political parties convened in POJK convened a so-called all-party conference in which the Prime Minister of POJK and the former Prime Minister of POJK also participated, and they have come up with a resolution that we will not accept this and we will not accept that. But all those political parties that are initiating this rebellion and initiating these protests, like the JK NAP and JK NSF and the others,
So,
out of this conference. So this is a hoax, this is a dramabazi.
right. Right. Now, this dramabazi cannot continue for long, but the fact is that we are putting out the pictures and we are showing you the true reality of what's happening in POJK. Dr. Amjad Ayub Mirza, thank you for joining us and adding information and throwing light to these pictures that we've been able to access. Thank you very much.